What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with the overall market and break down what's happening to SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and many other tickers out there. I want to talk about what you should be knowing about the market before we open for this Friday, and some very important levels to be watching for to determine if the market is going to try to continue pushing higher. But before I break anything down about all of this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon, in just about 6 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market so far. Looking at Aapl, this thing is up about 0.33% as of right now in the pre-market, and SPY is up as a result of that, and so is Tesla. The market is starting to show some life, and we do have this potential inverse head and shoulders that should play out most likely, so long as no bad news comes out. And so far, so good for the markets. Now, as a reminder, 30 minutes after the market opens, we have the wholesale inventories data coming out. This could have an effect and cause some volatility after the first 30 minutes. And besides that, there's not really anything else that's too big on the data side. Now, when it comes to a couple of things to know about the market is, once again, we are still seeing futures a little bit down. They were down just to start us off, and they're kind of down for the week. But this could all change just a little bit, or at least the losses may not be as bad once we see how the market ends up pushing for today, in my opinion. Now, there's a lot of talk about Aapl, how Apple's been dropping so hard. And I want to just argue that, yes, Aapl, if anything, dropped 3% on Thursday and also 4% on Wednesday. So we saw lots of selling off the last 2 days. It is due for a bounce, in my opinion. I think that's very probable for now. There's also this talk over here about how GM on Thursday proposed a new contract for employees that would offer a 10% wage increase for the majority of its workers. That's important to note. And besides that, we're seeing something interesting right here. Walmart has cut their starting pay for employees. So, just new headlines are coming out, but nothing else too huge. I think there was news that came out involving Nvda. Nvidia's CEO Jensen Huang has sold about $42 million in shares, but that is what you would expect from these filing reports. And this didn't happen immediately. This actually happened a while back from the filing report. So nothing out of the ordinary. This is what they tend to do when you see the share price just like rocket some very, very high prices. And you could see there were different transactions which he exercised his stock options in multiple blocks, and that was through September 1st through the 6th. So it didn't happen as soon as yesterday. It happened over a period of time. And we also saw, once again, a total amount of stock sales at about 42 million. So this, once again, is worth noting. And I just want to say that these were all part of the March 2023 plans as well. So this is before he actually exercised any options. This happened a while back and over a long period of time. The report is just showing it for now. So anyways, now let's break down what's going on with the market. How are things looking? Aapl right now has this potential inverse head and shoulders, looking quite decent so far. It's a little bit green in the pre-market, but overall we're very flat compared to where we were yesterday. So as far as Aapl goes, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little drop first. Then this thing tries to continue pushing. If we hold 178, we're going to have potential to push up to about the 50 EMA around 179. If we get above 179 and hold it, Apple's going to start pushing, in my opinion, to 180 plus and try to fill this gap up here. We had this gap from the pre-market, and I think there's going to be an attempt to fill it all the way up here. And let me just show you what I'm talking about. So if you look at, for instance, the 2-hour time frame, we just close our extended hours. This is what Aapl may end up doing, right? Aapl might start pushing and making attempts to fill this gap all the way. We could see 181 plus, and that's going to help pump the markets to some extent, in my opinion. Looking at SPY, if Aapl does end up pumping to those higher levels, we're likely going to see SPY trying to continue the trend, showing some strength in the pre-market so far. And we also have a potential inverse head and shoulders right here. So there's a good chance we're going to see SPY try to make an attempt for 447 or so, at least try to get very close to it. 446.73 just happens to be where our 200 EMA is. Then a rejection off that, and a green close is most definitely on the table. Max pain at the time I'm recording this is still around 445, so there's a good chance we're going to get a pop, then a drop, and it's still looking quite decent in the pre-market. Now watch major support at 444, but we're actually not there just yet. We're getting closer to 445. There's a good chance SPY is going to push even higher, in my opinion. Same thing with Tesla. If you look at Tesla, Very, very nice looking structure and very nice accumulation here. It's holding up above its 200 EMA. Going to be watching for it to push all the way back into the 255 plus area. May reject off that and still close kind of green. I could see Tesla pushing even more from here, and I do believe there's more upside potential for it. So that's just worth noting. Watch 255 if it gets above 252.5. Then above that, we have 257.5. All of that's going to be just before like 260. And then for support, watch our 200 EMA right at about this 249 area. Not to mention, we also have 247.5 as another support. So it looks more bullish overall, quite good for Tesla. For the triple Q, this is also looking like it has an inverse head and shoulders trying to accumulate right over here. We have this unfilled gap all the way up to this the 374s. I think it's going to visit the 374s or at least get very close to doing so. Watch resistance at 372.5 and 373.67. Watch for it to push to the 374s. There's a good chance about that. Now for Nvda, unfortunately, excuse me, Huang ended up selling some shares, which could cause it to just drop just a little bit, but we have to see it try to hold above the 50 EMA for it to really turn around. We're kind of rejecting off of it so far. If it breaks and holds above 463, which I think eventually it's going to end up doing it anyways, we're going to try to fill this gap, and I think it's going to happen today. I think 473 is on the table. It could push a little bit higher, but I'm leaning a little bit more bullish on it temporarily. Could drop a little bit when we open and start pushing even higher. We could see like 473 or so, and then it could reject off that and still close kind of green. I'm leaning more bullish overall for Nvda. SPX, once again, it's still due for some sort of like balance. We haven't fully built our gap just yet on SPX. Same thing on the NASDAQ. They have very similar looking setups. And we're going to be waiting for the VIX when the market opens to see if this thing continues to drop. We have these gaps down below, and the overall trend was bearish as of yesterday, and it looks like it may continue on that trend. The dollar is also beginning to cool off. If the dollar does continue dropping after getting this rejection off the bearish divergence, then that's going to lead to more downside for it, which could pump the markets even higher. And besides that, Amazon may gap down and then try to continue pushing. It's not looking that bad. It's trying to hold its EMA as of right now, so watch for it to potentially push all the way up to 139. I think there's potential for it to do that because of this accumulation structure. And last but not least, Meta is currently at about 300 a share. Watch for it to push to 301, then potentially even 305. It may reject off those levels as it's very, very stationary. Watch this high right here, like 307, if it does get above this breakout area at 305. So some important levels that are worth noting. I do think Meta has some potential this morning. Anyways, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. Hopefully this video was helpful for all the people out there. I just want the best for all of you. So take care, have fun trading, and do what you have to do, guys. I will most definitely see you guys in the next one. Thank you, and peace out.